Steve Cardenas, aka Rocky the Red Power Ranger, and you are watching Smart Tank Revolution.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Smart Tank Revolution, where we always kick out at 2. I am your host, the benevolent, intelligent, excellent, and eloquent, aka the excellence of elocution, Donnie Wonderful. And I believe we are on the 30th installment of The Essentials. Here is where we rank wrestlers according to two specific and special rating scales and criterias. One comes from Bret Hart's book, My Real Life in the Cartoon World of Wrestling, which is a great encyclopedia of wrestling in itself. And I encourage you all to read it if you haven't read it. And if this ever gets back to Bret, I'm a voiceover artist. If you need some, Amazon Audible narrations, you can call me. So we have that one, and then we have our own rating scale system called The Essentials, is what the playlist is named after. 30th episode, and I decided to tackle The Ultimate Warrior because this is one of the greatest anomalies of wrestling. And let me preface it with I was a huge Ultimate Warrior fan. Outside of Bret Hart, I've probably, no, actually, wow, more so than Bret. I've owned more Ultimate Warrior toys, um, posters. I still have the Warrior comic. I was always an Ultimate Warrior fan. And I think that his appeal to me as a kid was the we're gonna get into that because the his appeal to me also falls in line with one of the rating criteria bullet points. But back then, man, like the muscle chiseled guy with the colorful, actually, we're gonna save that. We're gonna save that. We'll get into it. But the anomaly here that I mentioned is that when we hear of the Ultimate Warrior from his peers in wrestling, they give him the reclusive snobbish label. Like, he didn't talk with anybody. He was real serious. He didn't really care about the business. Kind of him and they paint him out to be like how they say Brock Lesnar doesn't play nice with others. That's what they do with the Ultimate Warrior, or did with the Ultimate Warrior. WWE back in 2005 released DVD, The Self Destruction of the Ultimate Warrior. If you guys haven't seen his Dark Side of the Ring episode, I mean, I think that's a good balance of good and evil there. But it's really duplicitous in nature here. Like when we discuss the Ultimate Warrior, I was a fan. I was a fan. So you have some that praise him, that says, okay, for what we he was used for, he did his job. But then you have the detractors that say, well, his wrestling was the shits. And now it is up to me to rank and rate all of these things. Well, not all, because there is order here. But the one thing that's not in order is this tangent that I'm about to go on, because all of this is off the cuff. We try to present these to you as if you're sitting right across from us. And so you'll hear, especially with me, you'll hear me stumble, stutter, and, just try to find the right words to say that truly reflect how I'm feeling in my heart about certain things. And just like that, it can change. So this is unedited, pure dope, off the cuff, pure raw, however you want to put it. So we're going to get into this. The rating criteria. Like I said, we're going to begin with Bret Hart's, which uses three categories: wrestler's look, promo ability, and in-ring work. Scored from 1 to 10. This is going to be interesting. And luckily, we get to start high. The wrestler's look. Would anybody out there argue that from 1 to 10, the Ultimate Warrior, 80s, 90s, prime, whatever, can anybody argue anything less than a 10? Here's my arguments, or here's my evidences. Obviously, minus, like the steroids or whatever, allegedly, you know, all things considered equal, the Ultimate Warrior had a great look, a phenomenal look, an extravagant look. I mean, he was a bodybuilder, so and real quick story. So the Ultimate Warrior um came to Boston, I believe, in like 2012. Big Time Wrestling had an event here, and the Ultimate Warrior was available for the meet and greet. And I got there late, so I didn't get a chance to get the meet and greet. But he came out and greeted the fans, cut a quick promo, thanked everybody for supporting him over the years. He circled the ring, I was actually able to shake his hand and look at him eye to eye. And I'd say Ultimate Warrior was about like 6 foot and a half, maybe like 6'1" or 6'1" and a half. I'm 6'4", so I was taller than him, but it really helped put in perspective of how big he actually was in his prime. Real quick, a few years ago, I remember meeting Scotty 2 and saying like, "Damn, this guy's big. This guy's jacked." And again, I'm 6'4", about I don't know what I'm at right now. I think I'm easily, well, I did have pizza, whole small personal pan pizza. So I'm probably about 270 right now. Who knows? I don't know. But I say that to say, like I'm a NFL football tight end. And these guys are shorter than me. And some of them are still chiseled, but they have the same width as me. So I give them a lot of respects and I rank them high. If in their prime they were bigger and they had to slam each other and take bumps, I also consider that when I'm ranking a wrestler's look. But here, I mean, the eye test is this all you need. The Ultimate Warrior is a 10, and that's just on the body alone. Now, what I was mentioning before, why I was so enamored with the Ultimate Warrior is because he came out, and I believe Bruce Pritchard said, or someone from WWE Creative on one of the DVDs was explaining or attempting to explain the appeal of the Ultimate Warrior, and they nailed it right on the head. The color coordinated paint with the tights and the tassels. Like it takes effort to it shows the effort that he put in his presentation, and I think that also paid off for him because here's something also that I like to do, um, especially back in the mainly the new generation era, where where the ring attire is was really telling for me. Like if you had cool ring attire and you looked good in it, that was the first thing that would pique my interest. And I want to reference Razor Ramon because he had the trunks and the boots, and I used to like his little vest that he came out with the jewelry. But the different colors that he had, it all looked cool. He had green, he had black, he had yellow, he had red. Like he had multiple colors. He even had pink. SummerSlam 1993. Go look at that. Fuchsia, whatever that is. I don't know. It looked good, but it looked cool. So like there was that was also another reason why I like Shawn Mike. I used to always like Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid ring attire with the hearts, and he had multiple colors of that. Bret Hart had pink and black, but just different designs on them, and that looked cool. The Ultimate Warrior was up there too. Rick Rude was up there too with the airbrush and RVD. This turned it into a whole nother thing. Ultimate Warrior with the tassels and around the arms, the color coordinated wristbands, the face paint, tassel on the boots. It all looked great. And I have completely put over this 10 that I gave him for wrestler's look. Because at least on the Bret Hart scale, this is about the kamikaze dive or straight to the depths of hell. And I'm trying. You know what? We're gonna see if we can get Ultimate Warrior 20 out of 30. We're gonna try to see at least we can get him a 20. So the promo ability. All right. So it hasn't begun the initial descent. It wasn't until the self-destruction of the Ultimate Warrior that I not realized that I had no clue what he was actually talking about. When you're a kid, you have imagination. Like none of that stuff even mattered back then. That's the excuse that I'm making because ultimately you understood what the message he wanted to put over. I think the Ultimate Warrior, to make a quick a movie reference, Walking Hard, Dewey Cox, the tale of Dewey Cox. You remember when I think he had started to get clean and he's singing a song and the lyrics don't make sense and they're like, what's he saying? And then his boy goes, "You guys are idiots. This song is very deep." I'm giving the Ultimate Warrior that same. Uh, I'm giving. Hey, yeah, listen. I'm trying it. I'm trying. He used a lot of colorful words. All right. Okay. So I'm gonna give him that same respect. A lot of his promos were very deep. There's one thing that you never doubted. You s- you could hear that ambition in his voice. That alone's gonna win me over. But I get it. It wasn't the best promo because it couldn't easily make sense. A second grader couldn't properly comprehend it, and I was in second grade. But guess what? When I was hearing those things, I didn't ask my parents or whoever was watching, "Hey, what did he say?" I'm like, hey, we were just happy to see him. The promo ability, all right. Just to be fair, we'll give him a 6. So we're at a 16. His promos weren't setting the world on fire. I didn't think that they were bad. I mean, come on, like he had a career in politics where he had to talk. I'm pretty sure he had no problem articulating himself. And if you hear any of his interviews, you can tell that this man is of sound intellect and yeah, he's relatable. Like if he has a topic that he wants you to understand, like I'm pretty sure he can reel you in and actually get you emotionally revved up and charged. But I guess like when you're talking about wrestling Ravish and Rick Rude and Bad News Brown and Earthquake, you use as many colorful expressions and cliches as you possibly can. I'm gonna give him a 6. I'm gonna give him a 6, and I think that's being fair. Me personally, again, I didn't think his promos were bad, but considering some of the past promos that I've scored a 10, this can meet that mark based on his delivery of it. Like the breathing, listen, all his antics, all the theatrics, that deserves to be pushed over. I was gonna move it up to a 7, but all right, we'll stick with the 6. Okay. Now the third category, man. Hold on, let me take a sip of this caffeinated beverage, the unofficial drink of Smart Tank Revolution. What is this here? Some type of cola. One second. Thank you very much. The in-ring work. Okay. The in-ring work. The description of criteria will always be in the description box. You can read it yourself, but I'm going to do you guys a favor, guys and gals a favor. The in-ring work in pure AP English run-on sentences. The ability to perform and execute a variety of wrestling moves in a manner which makes sense, accompanied by other innovative and improvised actions, which may psychologically connect with the audience and further enhance the story. I did that on purpose. That is Donnie wonderful humor. Because I didn't have to actually put all those words in the description. That's just me trying to fill the characteristics, the character spot places. Has the Ultimate Warrior ever done that in a match? Yes. Yes, he has. With a lot of help, and we're going to get to that when we get to the essentials, our rating system. But if we're just talking about in-ring work, headlock takeovers, uh, body slams, you know, just like the description says, a variety of moves, Ultimate Warrior does not have. Um, Innovative and improvised actions, non-wrestling, yes. The moves can pretty much, map everything out. The psychological connection with the audience. Now, Hulk Hogan would Hulk up. The Ultimate Warrior would, he would shake the ropes, shake the ropes, go on his march, block, punch. Damn, I can literally, for the most, for the most part, how can I? All right, I'm trying to get the Ultimate Warrior to a 20. Let me get him to a 20. And we're at 16. The in-ring work. People will say he's the shits, as Jim Cornette would say. And technically, they're not wrong. He wasn't setting the world on fire with his in-ring work either. But I'll say this. For somebody that will likely rank very poorly in this category, at least there's a few classic matches here. And you, you got to be special in order to have classic matches with people. It's not always the other person; it's a dance partner. Even if you do allow that person to take the wheel, they still have to wrestle around your style. I am stalling as all hell. In ring work, Ultimate Warrior. I am going to give you a well, all right, you know what? I'm gonna be fair and rank it a 3. I tried. I tried. The 3, in my opinion, is very poor on the Bret Hart scale, yes, but I can say that I've always enjoyed an Ultimate Warrior match. I've seen a lot of them live in Boston as a kid. I don't have any complaints. Come to think of it, that's what's going to give him that 4. 20, we got there. I don't have any complaints about his in-ring work. I just don't. He did what he did and then he left. Even the WrestleMania 12 match, the Triple H match, he just came back. I'm like, cool. That's like, squash, but cool. All right. I got no problem with it. I got no problems with it. He did what he had to do. Now, because of the nostalgic connection with him, I'm not actually holding him to the same caliber I would hold to some of our newer generation wrestlers or the guys wrestling now. But back then was different. We'll give him a 4, which really a 3, but 4 for the sake of just getting a 20. Fine, 3, whatever. Let's get it. Let's get out of that one. Smart Tank Revolution's unique rating system is called the Essentials, where we rate 3 attributes from 1 to 5, and now I got the point fives and the decimals to actually help me out here. Number 1, innovative effectiveness, the ability to work as a babyface or a heel. I've never seen the Ultimate Warrior ever work as a heel, and I ugh, imagine how those promos would be if the Ultimate Warrior had to work as a heel. Can't even can't even nah, no, no. Yeah, this is actually gonna be rough. Okay, so but he did so well as a babyface. So I feel like I have to put him dead in the middle of the rating system here. So I'm gonna go 2.5. No, because he was a really good babyface. He's a really good babyface. It should be a 3, but I'll be fair. All right, 2.5. I put him smack dab in the middle because there's really only um, references to his babyface work, which he was a huge babyface in merchandise, T-shirts, towels, the original figurehead of Slim Jim before Randy Savage took the deal. Come on, you know. I think that's enough to push him over. All right, we'll give him that. So 3. You know, 3. Classic matches and classic rivalries. The go-to reel when we talk about the Ultimate Warrior, obviously, WrestleMania 6, Toronto Skydome at the time. Main event, wrestled almost 30 minutes, beat Hulk Hogan in the middle of the ring, clean. 1, 2, 3. Great match, great finish. That's one. The year after that, WrestleMania 7, Los Angeles. The career match. Macho Man Randy Savage. That image of the Ultimate Warrior putting his right foot on Randy Savage's chest, two hands pointed to the sky, looking at the sky for the 1, 2, 3. That was on the house show programs for at least half the year. Classic match, classic. Um, those that rivalry with Randy Savage had a great story. It began at the Royal Rumble that year. Ultimate Warrior denied Randy Savage a title shot, so Randy Savage and Queen Sensational Sherry cost them the WWF Championship at the time to Sergeant Slaughter. And from January to April, you had that build up for this rivalry between the two. After that, another classic rivalry, in a sense that it introduced a new aspect to the character, was I would say would be, I just thought of another one actually, but the Ultimate Warrior and Jake the Snake, uh during this is 1991, 1992, during Jake Roberts's, at the time, I'm not sure if he was a heel in WWF at the time when he came in, but I do know that that was the first time I saw Jake Roberts. um that was the introduction of his heel turn to me, and I found that shocking. And I think that is classic because I think Jake Roberts, though I guess it's more of a compliment to Jake Roberts, who just badmouthed Bret Hart and I don't know too much about HBK, but I'm just saying we'll get to that on another video. But the way he transitioned was just so smooth and natural, and it just made that was one of the first heel turns that made me feel like maybe he was like this the whole entire time. But since the Ultimate Warrior was a part of it, I'm going to put him in that. So that would be a even though they really didn't have matches, I can't really say that's a classic rivalry. But um the one that came to mind was Undertaker. Undertaker in the early 90s. Ultimate Warrior vs. The Undertaker. They ran that on the house shows for most of that year actually. And if I'm not mistaken, if memory if my memory recalls, that was the first time Boston Garden was. That was the first time I ever saw a body bag match. Ultimate Warrior versus the Undertaker in a body bag match. Ultimate Warrior won clean. But I remember him putting the Undertaker in the body bag. The body bag only came up to the Undertaker's head, and then once the Undertaker was in the body bag, Ultimate Warrior hit the rope, splash, 1, 2, 3. But the funeral parlor segment really kicked that off. I'm That's an underrated great rivalry where you have basically Superman versus Doomsday, if you guys remember, or if you don't remember, if you weren't around when the Undertaker's first 2 years, he was damn near unstoppable. And we talk about a push. The Undertaker won his first world championship in its first 365 days, probably day 365. But that's how much like he was over as a supernatural unstoppable heel. So that goes in there with it. So I say all that to say this, and I gave you guys a lot of cannon fodder and I gave you guys a lot of references, but I did not score this. Classic matches and classic rivalries, I'm going to give a 4. Okay. Now the defining and redefining moments. And I would say I like that and the classic matches kind of go hand in hand. But the I guess the defining one is hey, you beat Hulk Hogan clean. Babyface versus babyface, title versus title. It was title versus title for those that didn't know. That was you beat Hulk Hogan. Like that was the peak right there. But the redefining moment is what has transpired, unfortunately, since his untimely demise with the Warrior Award. But beginning with his Hall of Fame induction and some of the things that he highlighted, and even what the Warrior Award stands for. That is something that outlives him. That right there, in my opinion, is legacy. And for that reason, and I'm not going to go in too much more on that, even though I clearly can because I'm the, you know, tyrant of tangents. But he gets a perfect, solid, um, undisputable 5 for the defining and redefining moments. Which, when you think about it, for someone that ranks so low on the in ring work, how can he get a perfect 5 here? Well, I'll leave that for you all, our Smart Tank Revolution supporters, to debate and argue, agree, or disagree with me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Thanks for listening to my tangent about the Ultimate Warrior. This was fun. Till the next one.